Greg, Maya, and Betty are not experts, nor do they claim to be. They're just a bunch of nerds who enjoy talking about movies, shows, and current events. So sit back, grab a coffee, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode of All Queued Up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, the review podcast from tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc. I'm your host, Greg Dees, and with me always is Maya, Don Fisher, and Betty Badger. How you two been this last week? Actually, 2 weeks. I should clarify that.
Outside of the usual, not much. Just tired. What about you, Maya?
I've been okay. We didn't get to go on our trip that we had talked about. Unfortunately, we had some setbacks and didn't get to take it, so that was frustrating. But, other than that, just staying busy. And things have been good for me. How about you, Greg? How have you been?
Well, been trying. So you may have noticed last week we didn't have a podcast. That was because my birthday was on Wednesday, but Tuesday night, my family had one of the worst tragedies we've ever experienced. Yes, it was a death in the family, but it was more than that. And I'm not going to go into details, but just know that it was enough for us to just not fucking have a podcast last week. But things are looking a bit better. So we're back. But it's been stressful. Both Maya and Betty know exactly what happened, and both of them can confirm it would be stressful as fuck for anybody.
Absolutely.
So, other than that, I've just been making sure my mom's okay, hanging out with her, talking to her, letting her talk to me. That's all I can say to that. But yeah, guys, this week we're going to talk about the penultimate and finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we're going to talk about the last 2 episodes of Invincible. Next week, because we don't have Falcon and Winter Soldier to come back to, because it was only 6 episodes, we are going to just talk about the finale of Invincible and just shoot the shit. So I'm saying this now at the top of the show. If you have a topic or something you want us to discuss, or maybe a game that you think we would enjoy that we can make up on the spot, let us know. Leave a comment under the video on the YouTube or wherever you're listening to this. Leave a comment or go to our socials and leave a comment. I'll hit this up at the end of the episode as well. But we want to hear from you. See if there's something you want us to kind of touch upon or something to that effect. So, other than that, why don't we go ahead and dive right into Falcon and Winter Soldier? The last 2 episodes, the penultimate episode, which we'll kind of touch upon first, it was a lot about like coming to terms with who Sam and Bucky are and what they represent. The opening bit with the fight with John was outstanding. Choreographed fucking flawlessly, in my opinion. What did you guys think of that fight?
Oh, that was fabulous.
It was very good, and it was very reminiscent of the fight between with Cap and Bucky against Tony in Civil War.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of that.
Little Easter egg on that, Maya. The composer for Winter Soldier and Civil War worked on this show, and you can hear a lot of he brought back a lot of the same sounds and tied it into the new score.
Nice.
So during that fight, you can hear a lot of the Civil War score from that fight. So I thought
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking neat.
But I enjoyed it, and it was nice to see them. When Walker's like, you guys don't want to do this. And Bucky was like, yeah, we do.
The fucking the ending bit of them breaking John's arm and getting the shield was awesome. But like right before that, when they like, I don't remember how they did it, but they basically like spun John Walker in like a half circle because they hit him in the back with the shield hella hard.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was cool. I was like, yeah, fucking get him. But one of the things that is so important to remember about John Walker, and this will tie into the final episode too, or was it? No, it was this episode. It was episode 5. John Walker doesn't just represent a portion of America. What he represents is white privilege. So at a certain point in the episode, he gets to walk out of a courtroom. I don't know if he was being court-martialed per se, but he was definitely getting the title stripped from him.
No, it wasn't a court-martial. It was a formal inquiry / hearing. Pardon me.
Well, that's what I thought it was. I assumed that it was.
Yeah, they even said you're lucky that this isn't a court-martial.
That's exactly what I think is important about that scene is later when Sam is talking to Isaiah Bradley about everything that happened. That's the difference in not just our military but our world between the race relations in this country. And I'm glad the show touched upon that. I'm really irritated that tons of people didn't pick up on it, but I immediately saw that and was like, we already knew that Isaiah Bradley, because he told Sam, like, I spent 30 years in prison. And I was kind of like, I know they're not going to make Isaiah out to be like some kind of weird bad guy. So I don't know. It was just, I really appreciate them touching on it. I really appreciate them making it out in the open. Like, this isn't just us.
He was rightfully jaded.
Isaiah, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, I thought you were saying John was rightfully jaded. I was like, huh?
No. Isaiah was rightfully jaded. I mean, I'm the kind of person who's very optimistic, and it just hurts my heart when I see people who are, so jaded that they have no hope left in the rest of the world. And that was a very depressing scene for me.
Oh, it was. I think it was 100% meant to be depressing. Like, especially if you have some kind of empathy in your heart, and you hear Isaiah's story, and you don't immediately get emotional, or you just kind of like, oh my god, here we go with the race baiting again. Then, unless you're doing that stuff, you're not, paying attention. You don't care. Like, that's something I've noticed about people, especially in America, is that there's just this really strong lack of empathy when it comes to other people's plights.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that I've read online of like how people feel about that episode and the finale, which I'll get into a little bit later because some of those reviews are insane, but it just shows to me that people they genuinely don't care about others, and they never will care about others. They have to make everything about themselves, and it's a problem. But something that Marvel's always done, we've kind of touched upon this in the past, is when we talked about like earlier episodes of this show, was that Marvel has never shied away from doing this sort of thing or trying to bring about conversation when it comes to social issues. Ultimately, what the fuck do you think the X-Men are? Mm-hmm. But this comic, the comic that this is biting off of, Red, White, and Truth, came out in 2002.
2003.
Sorry. It's close enough. But it's not like a new comic. It's not like the fucking thing is literally 18 fucking years old. It could vote if it wanted to. So it's This is obviously something that's been happening in the country for a long time. To sit there and ignore it and be like, oh, they're just trying to. It's just fucking mind blowing to me. But anyway, off topic. I had a really hard laugh when I saw Valerie Fontaine. Is it Valerie? Yeah, Valerie.
Yeah, Valerie Fontaine.
What a weird character to just bring into the fucking MCU. I could have spent all fucking day talking about who the secret cameo was, and I would have never thought her.
It was shocking to us too. We were like, "What?"
For those that aren't aware, she was initially a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a love interest for Nick Fury, but she later defected and becomes Madam Hydra.
To be fair, she was Madam Hydra for like a year in the comics, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a very long-lived thing, but she was also kind of a weird character to begin with.
Yeah.
Because her character was designed to look like, I mean, if you go look at pictures of her from her first incarnation, she's very fucking clearly a James Bond type.
Yeah, very Bond girl. Very Bond girl.
Interesting.
Like very, like, I like what they're doing with her in the show because it's, I don't know why I'm pointing at my phone doing that, but because what they could do is tie her into being, associated with Nick Fury in some way, or for fuck's sake, for all we know, she could be a fucking Skrull. Any of these characters could be a Skrull, really. I mean, if we're getting down to brass tacks, but I just started fucking laughing. I just started laughing because I was like, first off, to have Julia Louis-Dreyfus play her is fucking funny as hell to me. Maybe because it invokes like an image in my mind of her in the same kind of costume that I'd known her to be in before, or the character to be in the past, which is just kind of funny to me. But again, just such a fucking like super niche character to bring in. Super niche. Like, I completely forgot about her being Madam Hydra. Like, it wasn't until Maya was like, Madam Hydra, I'm like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I completely fucking forgot about it.
I had no idea.
So, but
I do one thing that I thought was a really, really good scene. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Going back to that hearing with John Walker and the panel,
okay,
and when they strip him of the title, and he says, "I did everything I was supposed to do. I did everything my entire career by your mandates. I've lived my entire life by your mandates. You can't do this to me." When I was doing what I was ordered to do. That was a pretty powerful scene. Really Absolutely. Well executed on Wyatt Russell's behalf. And it gave you empathy for Walker.
Yeah.
Not that you didn't already have some when, he sees his best friend get killed in front of him at the end of the 4th episode. But, he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy that's had to make bad choices and made bad decisions, but he's not a bad guy. And you see that coming through. He's struggling to understand. He's frustrated, and it makes sense. But yeah, I really.
Well, this is exactly what Zemo was getting at when he was talking about who deserves the super soldier serum. To him, the only person to ever have it that was good was Captain America. And he kind of explains that, I think it was episode 4, but might have been 5. But anyway, or not. Anyway, he basically explains that if you seek out the super soldier serum, you don't deserve the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
It's people that are reluctant on it, because that's why Steve was the perfect candidate according to the doctor that gave it to him, because Steve didn't care that he was small. He didn't care that he that he couldn't fight. He wanted to fight. He didn't care how, and that's why he deserved it. And Bucky, on the other hand, it was given to him without his acknowledgement or consent, which is one of the reasons he doesn't want the shield. He doesn't think he deserves the shield because of that reason alone. That the super soldier serum was used to kill people, and now he's trying to make amends. And it's brilliant how they wrote that in a subtext format. But that's why, like, that's what I love about the character of Walker, is that he's exactly that. What Maya said, he's not a bad guy. He's just it's that example of like power. People who seek power usually don't deserve it, and what I'm hoping to see in the future is Walker team up with other people who were very similar to him in regards of, I thought I was doing the right thing, but it like I want to see a Dark Avengers or a Thunderbolts type of team with Walker in there and Zemo in there and whatnot. Like, that's what I want to see.
It really seems like they're slowly building towards that.
Right, with Val Fontaine as the leader, or their Nick Fury.
Yeah, their director, what have you.
I have to say, when it comes to who they picked to be Captain America, his name just completely slipped my mind.
Sam?
Chris Evans.
The actor?
Oh, wait. The original Captain America or the current one?
The current one.
Okay. Anthony Mackie.
Or are you talking about the character's name, Sam?
I'm talking about the one that, the government decided.
Oh, John Walker.
Oh.
Yeah, John Walker. Thank you.
Sorry.
When the very opening scene in the first episode, he was very hesitant. I think that he had every intentions on being a good person, but the stress of it all, and again, going back to being in all those wars, getting all those medals, having all that stress, not being addressed, it became too much, and it shows how quickly someone who feels like they're in, they're doing the right thing, they're being a good person, how quickly they can fall, because life's not easy, man, especially when you're doing the job of a fucking superhero,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he even said when he first got the shield, he's like, these are huge shoes to fill. And I, am not a super soldier, but I'm going to do everything I can. And it's going to be that much harder for me to try to live up to the name. And I just want to do the name justice. He said something along those lines when he first was granted the title. And I think the pressure of that combined with his traumas, because he said, when Lamar said to him, look at them, you've got these medals for bravery, or what exactly, I can't remember off the top of my head what the medals were. But he's like, yeah, I've got 3 reminders, that 3 permanent reminders of the worst day of my life. So he's definitely dealing with trauma, and hasn't had time to deal with that trauma, I guess. Just all those factors compounded. I mean, he's a very well-written, complex character. He was a very, very enjoyable for me in that regard.
Mm-hmm. No, when he takes the role, he does it well.
Yeah, I was like, Wyatt Russell, like, thank you for bringing this character to life, because a lot of people have pointed out a lot of things about his character, and one of the things, like I brought up earlier, was the white privilege aspect. But when you take when you take that into context, you have to take everything else into context. And yes, the point of him being able to walk out of that fucking room where Isaiah Bradley wasn't, that's a huge aspect. But the other aspect is, like, this is a commentary on how our government treats our fucking soldiers. This is a commentary on how our government treats the rest of the world, and how they have treated our not only our soldiers but
And I have
other
to
things that
say,
fashion. So
as a military brat, I grew up in the military. It's a strange world. I mean, there is such a sense of camaraderie within the community, but how the upper echelon treat the average soldier and their families is somewhat crazy. It's like, how can you, call for this unity, but you're not treating people who need it the most, like the soldiers who come back from the Gulf War or Afghanistan or any other war. These people need help. Before you put them back in their regular jobs, give these people help. Give them time off, time to readjust, because they just stick them right back into it. And it's like, this person needs time. They can't just go back to doing what they were doing. They need time.
yeah, I think that's what's so brilliant about this show is that every single character that we interact with is dealing with their own trauma in a unique way. And if you're not reading that subtext on John, if you're not reading that subtext on Bucky, if you're not reading that subtext on Sam or fucking Zemo or Sharon Carter, like, you aren't a very good fan, in my opinion. It's not even fucking subtext. It's right there. They tell you outright that shit is there. Like, it's not hidden that Bucky is going through trauma. It's not hidden that there's race stuff in the show. None of that shit's hidden. It's right there. And it fucking blows me away that just people go like, no, that's not what they're talking about. It's just a character. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
No, man, there is so many, racial implications and what happened with Isaiah and, all of that. I mean, we know this is actual fact from history, how they treated, like the Tuskegee Airmen and the syphilis experiments. Fucking awful. Mm-hmm. Don't ignore it. It's like I heard a guy the other day telling a black girl, I don't see your race. I don't see your color. Bullshit, you do. Go ahead, acknowledge it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you fucking stalking her ass because of it. Oh, shame on you because you were stalking her because she's black. And then you turn around and say, I don't see your color. Bullshit.
When I was in my early 20s, I used to say that I don't see color either. And then I had a black friend, be like, so here's the thing about you saying that. That's your white privilege. You are allowed to say that because you're white, and you can sit there and ignore what's actually happening. And then basically had this long conversation about why it's wrong. And I was just like, got it. Never fucking saying that again. And correcting other people when they do say it.
That's learning, that is learning. I've known a lot of people like that. And especially here in Appalachia, we deal with people like that, as I'm sure Mike can attest. They think they're amazing people because they're like, I don't see color, all lives matter. It's like, no, you don't understand. You don't get it. It's like Jeff and I have talked. Do you know how often we see black people in this area? I mean, it's so rare, I mean.
Oh, so a fascinating thing, Betty, that I think you'll enjoy. A take that I had heard from somebody about the Flag Smashers is they are an allegory for the All Lives Matter people. Think about their slogan. Think about their slogan. Think about like their efforts. It's very much an allegory.
I see that. I mean, it's like, I know one of the reasons nobody has fucked with my car yet with my big stickers is because I have security cameras all over around my house. So, nobody's going to come up because they're going to know we know who you are, Yeah.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when like we have a show like this and you have a ton of people like when we talk about the finale, the actual last episode here, there's been a few. There was 2 reviews that I had basically screen capped off of Metacritic because I wanted to see what people actually thought about the show, and a lot of people had like their opinions. Like they said, a lot of people felt like certain characters weren't developed enough, or whatever, or that it felt like it was too short, or yada yada yada. And I get that. I totally understand that. That's valid fucking criticism. But the stuff that I was like, ooh, I want to see if like anybody's just critiquing this show because of the racial stuff or whatever, and it totally fucking exists, and it's pretty funny. But well, why don't we go ahead and talk about the final episode?
Well, before we
Because
get there, we didn't even touch on the back half of this one, like
I did not know.
the whole, Sam going back home. And he's basically reflecting. He's got the shield now, and he's reflecting on his place, what he's going to do. Bucky, he goes off and he leads the Dora Milaje to Zemo, and they take Zemo to the raft. But then you see this great conversation and few moments with Sam and Bucky where they're bonding, rebuilding the boat with the townspeople, and then they're just like playing frisbee with the shield, like bouncing it off of padded trees, catching it back and forth, and talking about what the shield means, the role means, what Steve meant, what their place is, who they are, what they represent, what they stand for. And I just thought that was a great, great thing to see. And, at the time they're doing it, and it seems all effortless and everything. And then after Sam leaves, or after Bucky leaves, Sam's like going into hardcore training mode with that shield to implement his fighting style.
Fun little Easter egg about that scene, by the way, Maya.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and watch it, and when Sam is running down a path, the camera slowly shifts to give the left side of the screen a bunch of space.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, that's awesome. That's so clever.
But
well, it's Sam's left side. It's technically our right side, but whatever.
Yeah, on your left.
Yeah.
But I just loved how, he was pushing himself, and it wasn't as effortless as the frisbee tossing, so to speak, because, he's pushing himself to his limits, what he can do. And I like how he's not altering his fighting style so much as implementing the shield to work with his fighting style.
Right.
And, he's given a case. The Dora Milaje sent it by Bucky. He's given a case. They said, here, you need this. Because remember, in the fight with Walker, his wings were damaged, and he left them. And Torres said, hey, what am I supposed to do with these? And Sam was like, keep them.
Yeah, because Torres is going to become the next Falcon, because that's what happened in 2015.
In the comics, he became the Falcon, yeah. But, yeah,
at least
that's just some stuff I wanted to touch on.
Can I just say I loved the little flirtation going beyond with Sam's sister and Bucky. I just thought it was so cute.
Yeah, and he was like, don't even.
Yeah, like any brother, don't you dare. Yeah.
I liked seeing Bucky's guard be brought down and him actually smiling and having a good time. Like him sleeping on a couch. Him sleeping on a couch was a huge piece of character development. Because
and then waking up and seeing the two nephews playing with the shield, and he's just smiling at them, and just,
Well, because if you remember in the very first episode, he woke up on the floor, and the whole aspect of him being on the floor, if you remember, ties to Winter Soldier when Sam is talking to Cap or Steve, and Steve mentions like it's rough coming back from war because you can't sleep on a bed anymore. It just feels like a giant marshmallow that you're sinking into. So you sleep on the floor because it's what's more comfortable. And so you see Bucky, after having his nightmare, waking up on the floor. So to see him in that episode waking up on a couch, I was like, damn, we're getting there. We're getting there with Bucky. That's awesome. Yeah. Watching him develop through this show has been fucking fantastic, because the shit that Bucky has had to go through and had to endure is absolutely fucking rough. And I'm so like him in episode 5 was so great because we got to see him fucking smile, like legitimately smile, not just like have to fucking force a smile, but like Sebastian Stan, you are an amazing actor for that. The subtlety in your expressions showing that throughout the entire series, like just beautiful. Well done. But
and then of course, this episode ended with the GRC, the Global Repatriation Council, being basically taken hostage by the Flag Smashers. And then you see at the end shot, you see Sam open up the case, and then it cuts away, and that's all you see.
Which I had a lot of people going like, "What does it look like? What does it look like?" And I was like, "I can tell you. We had the toiler as you mentioned, as you called it, Josh or Maya.
You son of a bitch!
I know. I don't know why I've been doing that. Like, my brain's in like two different fucking spots, and it just fucking says things wrong.
Yeah, I wonder what could have happened in the past week that fucking has your mind all to shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is crazy.
What was I gonna say? Oh,
The toiler.
the toiler. Yeah. So I had a lot of people asking me, like, what will Sam look like? What will his new outfit look like? And I was like, I can show you the toiler. I can find that online pretty easily, or I can show you what the comic looked like, so that way you have an idea of what the MCU one will look like, so you can be surprised by it. People usually offered, or optioned for the comic book cover, which is extremely similar, similar. But yeah, that's kind of how episode 6 opens up. We go right into like the GRC being taken over by the Flag Smashers, and Sam and Bucky kind of doing their thing to infiltrate it. The one thing that I would have liked to see is if the outfit, like the suit itself, because obviously we got a shot of Sam protecting a pilot with his wings from a helicopter bouncing off of it. But so we know the wings are obviously vibranium, but is the outfit also vibranium? That's what I'd like to know. But
good question.
This show doesn't really fucking show that, so I don't know. We'll see.
There's supposed to be a second season, right?
Oh, they're absolutely shit. They're either that. Well, Captain America 4 was announced shortly after the episode aired.
Yeah.
So we're getting a movie with Sam and Bucky before we get another show.
Yeah, we may not get another season of it. It may be a one and done like WandaVision, because Kevin Feige has said right now the stories that we're telling are basically stepping stones to get from movie this to movie that, and they're the stories that need to be told in between to connect the two.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but future shows of people who haven't been in the MCU before, like the upcoming She-Hulk TV show, it's being designed for multiple seasons because they're not sure how they're going to implement her into the movie universe yet.
Right.
So most likely Falcon and Winter Soldier is one season and done, most likely.
Yeah, like if we get a season 2, it won't even be considered a season 2. It'll be probably like
Captain America and Bucky.
Yeah.
Because they won't call him Winter Soldier anymore, I'm sure.
Or White Wolf or something like that.
But there will be a continuation, so that's good.
Oh yeah, never. Yeah, like every single show that we're getting, you will see the characters again at some point, unless they straight up die, unless they're just.
I hope to see Agatha again.
Well, she's not dead, so it's very likely.
I know. I'm so excited.
The actress, I can't remember her name suddenly. She,
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn. She expressed interest in playing her again. She was like, "Yeah, if they call me, I'll fucking play her again."
Hell yeah.
But it took me a while to remember who the hell Bartok was, by the way. Like when we saw him at the end of episode.
Batrock.
Is it Batrock? I thought it was Bartok.
No, it's Batrock. Batrock the Leaper.
Huh. Well, I'll be.
What's funny is you made me think of a restaurant in Reston, Virginia called Bar Taco.
Bar Taco. But yeah, I do remember who the character was because he's He was first introduced in Winter Soldier, I believe. Yeah, so it wasn't a character that I was immediately like, oh, I know who that is right away. Like, I was just kind of like, I don't remember who that is. So at the end of episode 5, I had to like look up his character. I was like, oh, okay, now I remember.
Well, you remember he was in the first episode this season, and I said it was awesome that they brought him back. And
I didn't pick up that it was him at all. I thought it was just some random fucking terrorist that was trying to kidnap, or not kidnap, but kill like a plane of U.S. soldiers. I did not pick up that it was Batroc. So that's on me, but
yeah, it is.
I
even told you, was it Civil War Winter Soldier that he was brought in?
Yeah, well, when I say episode 5, like I had A, forgotten what that guy looked like in episode 1, and B, forgot our conversation. So I did not make the connection, but
Gotcha. You know, and I love George St. Pierre. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. So, you know, his martial arts background, you know, really added to the believability of the character itself.
Well, I think that also added into the fight choreography for when Sam goes against him in the conference room.
Yeah. And the fact that Batroc the Leaper's first name, George, is spelled just like George St. Pierre because they're both French.
Yeah.
Which St. Pierre is French Canadian.
Has that S on the end.
Yeah.
Which makes my brain want to spell it George's, but I'm like, that's not.
Well, it's how it's spelled, but not how it's pronounced.
Right. So this episode also brought a little bit more information about Sharon Carter. She shows up right at the beginning of this episode wearing the same sheath that Black Widow wore in Winter Soldier. So my question, the reason I'm bringing this up is obviously later in the episode, slight spoiler alert, I guess, I assume we're talking about the fucking finale anyway. It's revealed that like Batroc calls her the power broker.
Mm-hmm.
So is she actually the power broker, or is she doing things intentionally to seem like she's in control, but not? Or like, did she kill the power broker and then now wears a sheath over her face like that to pretend that she's him? Like, there's so many questions there that I have.
I think she just straight up is. I don't think there's any subterfuge here. I think she straight up is the power broker, that she is upset at the way she was treated by the government that she had committed her life to, and, you know, became disenfranchised and upset in the past 5 years. You know, she's completely changed who she was and what she stood for. I really think she straight up is the power broker.
Well, obviously she is now, because we get that finale, we get that end credit scene. My question though is like, how did she get to that point? Is she for certain aspects, like using that disguise technology to keep it completely hidden that, you know, that Sharon Carter is the power broker and people don't know that? That's my question. Is like,
well, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I guess I should say, like, was she always the power broker? That's what I should be saying. But there's just a lot of unknowns there that I really want to know, and I really want them to explore her a little bit more. But obviously, we're not going to get that right now. So, but we know that she's coming back because we got that finale scene or the after credit scene. So, and now that she has the full might of the fucking government behind her, like, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. But the action sequences in this episode with Bucky fighting the Flag Smashers and, you know, like Walker showing up with his like broken makeshift shield.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love the shot of them punching the shield and it getting fucking dented super hard and it just falling to the ground, and you can see the welding marks on it, and you can see like how when it was punched, it dented, and kind of snapped a little bit where the welding mark was. I was like, God, that's such a good representation of who John Walker is. Like that shield represents who he is.
I really like the fact too that he took his medals that he got and welded them and implemented them into the inside of the shield so he can look at them and be reminded of why he's fighting.
It was very cosplay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I just didn't want to be the only one thinking that.
No, and that's, I
like,
think,
because when he was doing it, I told Jeff, I was like, oh, look, he's cosplaying.
well, that I think that's also what's really funny is that like he just straight showed up in the Captain America gear that he had. He didn't even try to change anything other than the shield. But it was so funny to watch him come back because all he wanted was revenge. He just wanted revenge against the Flag Smashers. He didn't care how. Like there is a little bit of a redemption there for him when like he decides to go after the truck full of people instead of chasing after Carly.
Mm-hmm.
Fails at it, but
well, he didn't completely fail. I mean, he did slow it enough to where
fair.
You know, if it hadn't have been for him, they would have flat out died. But he was able to stop, pull it back until, you know, shit happened and it gave way. But that allowed for, you know, the result of what happened. But
I don't think he looked at it like that either. I think he looked at it that he failed to save them, and that if it weren't for the new Captain America, it wouldn't have happened. And I think also Bucky kind of experienced that when he looks up and he smiles at Sam saving them with using 2 Red Wings in his own jetpack. But like them chasing them down and the shot. There's a shot that keeps coming to mind. It's when Falcon lands with Carly in his arms because Carly dies. For our audience, I'm talking about that like scene. It's a big old whatever, but personally, I thought the way that she died was kind of a little lame. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But when he shows up on the street in front of everybody, holding her with his wings spread out, landing very calmly. There's some old art that I can't find it, but it's of the same idea. I don't know if you guys have played or seen Batman Arkham City.
I've got several of the Arkham games. I don't have the last one, but I've got all the others, so I don't know. Maybe I do. I don't know which one the last one is. I think I have City.
Because I don't want to spoil it if you guys don't.
I'm not going to play it, so.
Now the game's old enough too to where I don't think our audience will care that much, but at the end of Arkham City, Joker is dying. He employs the help of Clayface to look like him, to which Batman ends up like not killing Clayface, but getting him to the point where he's almost dead. And Joker, in the process of trying to find and get an antidote for the venom sickness that he has, he fails and it breaks on the ground. And he dies. He dies in the process. But Batman like carries him out of the theater, which he was fighting him in that same fashion, like holding him in a cradle format. And there's a piece of old art that it invokes of, I believe it's an angel carrying a bad guy of some kind or somebody that wasn't a good person to represent this idea of like people who do bad things might not have had bad intentions is the idea. And or something to that effect. I don't fucking remember, but that's what the sight of him of Sam coming down with her invoked that same memory, invoked that same piece of art.
All I can think of is Sarah McLachlan in the arms of the angel.
Now I'm thinking of homeless shelters for animals, stray animals. Animal shelters, not homeless shelters.
But
Of course, now I'm thinking of the shelters that they put all these people in, the GRC, to round them up and move them out. And now we're back on the episode.
yeah, which the yeah, I already came back to it, so whatever. Whatever, Maya, fucking being all high and mighty. Sorry. No, the speech that Sam gave right after that.
Oh, that was great.
It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's fucking perfect. There was what I think I enjoyed the most about that was that his speech, it wasn't just about how the world will view him as Captain America. By the way, subtle small thing in the episode that I thought was really clever. When in the very beginning of the episode, all the way up before Sam says I'm Captain America, the subtitles whenever Sam talks say Sam and then colon and then whatever he says, right? At every point after that, it says Captain America colon and then says what Sam says.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, that's fucking awesome. Fucking subtle references in the show, not references, but subtle things in the show are so just. But yeah, after Sam gives that speech, he walks over to Bucky and he says, like, I don't remember what he says exactly, or was like, did you hear that, or what'd you think, or something to that effect. And Bucky just goes, I'm sorry, I was texting somebody, I didn't hear what happened.
Yeah.
But them kind of chuckling, and then Bucky look at him and smile and says, good job, Cap. And then patting the fucking shield was like, yes. Beautiful. So
yeah, I love that. I love that too, though, when bystanders they're seeing what's happening, and that one old man says, oh, look, it's the Black Falcon, and the other guy's next to him says, no, that's Captain America. And it's like,
buddy.
fuck yeah.
You know what's really fun? That little spot was really, really, really fucking cheesy.
Oh no, I get it. I mean, it's cheesy, like the first Spider-Man movie when he's on the bridge and the Goblins getting ready to take him out, and the people are like, he's one of us. You're messing with all of us now.
Right.
It
was a good kind of cheesy. It was. I also don't think cheesy is a bad thing.
Well, I don't really consider it cheesy. It's more of a lighthearted moment, we'll say.
Well, it's cheesy because it didn't necessarily need to be said, and it could have been written a little bit different to not have it like so fucking blatant. Like, that's Black Falcon right there. No, that's Captain America. That's really corny. It's really corny.
Oh, I agree.
It doesn't bother me, but I do recognize it as being corny.
I still
it wasn't like overbearing. It wasn't like there was so many fucking corny scenes throughout the episode to be a problem either. So, I enjoyed it, is what I was getting at. But
yeah,
I do recognize the writing being a little cheese factor. Trying to think of what else happened in that scene. I don't think there was much. They go and talk to Sharon, and Sharon's like, all right, well, sorry about her. Bye. I teared the fuck up at this. I don't know if you two did, but when Sam goes and talks to Isaiah and then takes him to the exhibit.
Yeah, that was a very touching moment.
Holy shit.
And the photograph they used was, I think it was an actual real World War II photograph that they used in that of the soldiers that was behind the statue honoring him.
Oh, it's fantastic. I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
But I really like the fact that he's like, now everybody knows who you are. You're not going to be erased or what have you.
Yeah.
Everybody will know what they did to you.
All right, guys. Why don't we go ahead and we're going this conversation is getting a little long in the tooth. So why don't we go ahead and give our final thoughts and a grade? Betty, why don't you go ahead and go first?
I definitely, as an overall, I'll give it an A. I think the last 2 episodes were definitely A plus. I'm excited to know that the story will continue, and I'm looking forward to it. So it started off a little slow for me, but overall, I think at the very end it was good, and I'm looking forward to more. What about you, Maya?
Well, I really love the fact that we actually got to see Carter granted the title of U.S. agent, and he shows up in his black, red, and white suit, which is essentially the exact suit he had under Captain America, except where it was blue, it's black now.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed seeing that. That was a nice touch. But as for the series overall, I just think it just continued to improve and get better each week. Really, really enjoyed it very much. I have to give it an A plus overall. What about you, Greg?
I think I'm gonna go with A as well. I think that the first episode 2 and 3 were a little slower than I would have liked.
Episode 3 gave you Dancing Zemo.
Yeah, but it was still a slowish episode. It's still there's some other parts of it that are just that don't stand out as much as the later parts, the later episodes do. I think it definitely started at what felt like it was going to be not a sprint, but definitely faster paced than it ended up being, and then it went into a sprint. And I think for that reason, it's just a slight knock on it, but not enough for it to not be an amazing fucking show. When I give a show an A, that's good. It's not perfect, so it's not getting an A plus. That's kind of my attitude. I think that
okay.
its
maybe
entire
I shouldn't say it's a perfect show.
Well, from my metric, when I do A plus, that means I couldn't find any fault. But I can't. I do find fault in the show at certain things.
Okay,
I don't think it was totally fucking necessary for Disney to force the entire what do you call it? They had there was a virus that was in the show that was hurting Carly's people, and nobody gave a shit. It was it was a whole part of the show that they had to completely scrap. This show was originally 8 episodes, but they had to completely scrap that entire aspect because they didn't want people feeling bad during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's necessary. So that's my opinion on it, and I think that episode 3 definitely suffered from that quite a bit because they had to cut out and add quite a bit. There was a lot of I could tell, I could hear it, but I know that you guys said you couldn't. But it was the cutting of audio and over dubbing over certain shots. So that's where I think the show faults. I think that it could have benefited from longer episodes, more not longer episodes, but a longer seasoned show. But I do also feel like the last 2 episodes would have happened the way that they did with or without that stuff. So I think that's where the show shines its strongest is in the last 2 episodes. Yeah. So and because of the last 2 episodes, because of the banter between Bucky and Sam and their growth throughout the show, that's why it's damn near perfect. Plus the social commentary is just fucking top notch. So couldn't enjoy that stuff more. But yeah, other than that, I think show is fucking if you're not watching what Marvel's doing right now, I don't know what to tell you. But before we move on, I did want to read the 2 reviews that I have on my phone that I think are very funny when in relation to the finale. So here's the first one. This guy gave it a 1 out of 10. What started as a show that only lightly touched on the race angle and politics decided to triple jump the shark in its very last episode by hammering the fact that this black guy is Captain America, a black Captain America, everyone, and then proceeded to have him call the violent unhinged. Okay, well, let me try to read it again. And then proceed to have him call the violent, unhinged, far-left, open-border Antifa-type terrorist a misguided teenager. This show constantly riding the line between humanizing the villain and straight-up apology for terrorism before going into a long Marxist speech.
Captain America, my fucking God.
Yeah, I was like, that's hilarious. Captain America delivering a Marxist and open-border speech. Let that sink in for a bit. And, of course, they had to insist about how many racists there is that will hate him for being black in a country that fucking elected twice a black president, because that was the whole point of the show, to tell you how racist USA is and how Marxism and open borders are good. That was that guy's
I honestly think I know that guy.
So here's the other one.
I'm not kidding. What was the username? What was the username?
Hell Nico. Hell-Nico.
Okay, I don't, but still.
I thought you were being facetious in the idea of, like, I know people like him.
Dude, I know somebody that I'm no longer friends with said almost those exact same words about a lot of things.
Oh, I
recently.
don't doubt it. I genuinely don't doubt it.
So I couldn't
this
deal
one
with that shit anymore.
This kind of stuff is really funny to me. But so here's the other one. Basically, the show had lots of potential before its conception. I imagine many ways to write an excellent Falcon and Winter Soldier script. This is not it. What this is about. White people are bad. America is bad. Black people are perpetual victims. Oppressed saints. Women are strong. Oh, yeah. After half of the population was brought back, we suddenly need communism.
Wow.
I like to thank the Chinese Communist Party for sponsoring this show in order to put a wedge between American and American. Great job, guys. I honestly bow to your brilliance. Hey, if the U.S. population is dumb enough to let you toy with their collective psyche and group cohesion, then they might very well deserve to be torn apart by you. He gave that a 0 out of 10. Fuck me, dude. I love going to Metacritic and reading user reviews when they're angry about a show that I think is good. So fucking funny. And those two specifically made me laugh. It's like, oh, it's Marxist now, huh? Nice. Somebody doesn't know what Marxism is. So
no, they don't.
I just wanted to share that with you too, because it fucking made me laugh. So hope you got a chuckle out of it.
I mean, not so much a chuckle as like, God damn it, I know people like that. And
yeah.
I'm ashamed that I do.
Well, I think on a large scale, these people are Americans, and Americans in general think this way. Not every American, obviously, that's ridiculous, but there are a lot of Americans that genuinely think like this, and it's very depressing to think I share a country with them. Like, I cannot imagine people being that dumb. And you also have to keep in mind, this isn't just Americans who think this way. A lot of people in different countries dealing with their own things see it this way. Canadians deal with their entire treatment of the Inuit race. There's a lot of stuff in Britain that has to do with open borders and whatnot. Australia deals with its Aborigines, and it's all over the world. And there's one defining factor. There's one massive defining factor between all of it. White people. Let me emphasize that again. White people. Go and look at the history of other countries and how white people have treated people who are darker than khaki. It's fucking disgusting. And it's about goddamn time that shows that we enjoy media that we absorb fucking bring it up in their shows. Again, I talked about this when we reviewed it, but one of the biggest aspects that I really fucking appreciate about the Watchmen HBO show was bringing to light the fucking Tulsa Massacre. People didn't know about it. Genuinely. Didn't fucking know about it. And now a ton of people do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, a lot of people who watched this show didn't know about the fucking Tuskegee experiments. They had no fucking clue.
How do you not know?
Well, a lot of people don't look into history. So, but that's the thing. That's the point I'm getting at about these forms of media that do this, is that it's educational in a sense. So when people like that on Metacritic write those kinds of reviews, keep in mind that if you're brilliant enough to pick up on this stuff and do the research and understand how, as a society today, we can rectify that and make things better, you're in the right step of history. They're not. So that's why I laugh at them. That's why I find them funny, because we need to, in a sense, let them know that it's not accepted. So anyway, why don't we go ahead and move on to Invincible, episodes 6 and 7. Last we saw Mark, he had got his shit kicked in by the Battle Beast, I think his name was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So episode 6 starts off with
basically his recovery.
It's been a hot minute.
Basically his recovery.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember everything that happened in episode 6, because that was the biggest problem I had with episode 6, is it didn't really advance anything. Like, I remember thinking, like, the stuff with Robot, it didn't explain shit. The stuff with Adam Eve, like, she left home. Like, I remember everything that happened in episode 7, because that shit mattered. But it felt like not a whole lot of it mattered in episode 6.
Well, I mean, episode 6 was pretty big in regards of, you see, well, I thought it was bigger than, I disagree with your take, is what I'm trying to say.
It was weird.
But I can see how you feel that way, though.
It just, yeah, I mean, it felt like it was just more setup for things that were already set up, is what it felt like. Like I said, like what happened with Robot? He went and talked to the twins again, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
about his clone.
The Mahler twins.
Yeah, we didn't learn anything about why he was doing it or what was his purpose or anything. We didn't learn anything. We just knew that he was still doing it. Everything with Omni-Man and his wife and learning that stuff, like, it just kind of furthered that a little bit. Like, yeah, she confronted him and the guy who makes the clothes knows, but like, where did it go? Like, he punched a wall. That was it. That was the end of the episode. Episode 7 brought it to a head, which I was like, that's what I wanted to see. So that's kind of what I mean by it just didn't move things as much as the other episodes moved plots.
Well, I think after coming off of the episode before that, you needed kind of a come down episode.
Sure. I'm not saying it was a bad episode. It was a great episode.
No.
It didn't like everything that I thought was going to happen, all the theories of where the show could go and stuff like that. Like, it didn't change one bit after episode 6. Nothing had adjusted. Nothing had really changed. It just was like, it was building. It was building more.
I just kind of felt it was them taking care of all the little things.
Sure.
Which,
like, it was,
go ahead.
Not bad, just not super fucking memorable. Like, when I think back to the show, episode 6 isn't what my mind's going to go to immediately. It's going to go to the other stuff, is all I'm getting at. Every episode felt like it had something that I was like, oh, that shit was dope. But 6 didn't really do that, so that's all.
No, it was a filler.
Yeah, that's all. It was that's what I mean by, like, it just didn't have a whole lot to discuss per se, personally.
I see that.
But because Because I remember talking this like, we're all watching the guys that I play with on video games every Wednesday night. My friends, like, we'll talk about the show every week, and I remember us talking about episode 6, and we were just like, yeah, nothing really substantial happened, and we talked about it for like maybe 5 minutes, and that was it, because it just nothing came about from it that was like, oh, what about this and what about that? Like it just was kind of like, move forward a little bit. Like I guess the best analogy I can come up with, Maya, to make this make sense is that every episode moved 100 yards, whereas episode 6 moved 20 yards.
Still first down.
I'm not disagreeing with you. But that's more so what I mean. Like, I'm going to remember the 100 yards than I'm the 20 yards. That's all. That's the best. Like, that analogy came to me way later than it needed to, but
understandable.
Yeah. So, and I'm saying that in regards to, like, unless there's something specifically in episode 6 that you two want to address or talk about, I say that we can just move on to episode 7.
That's fine with me.
It's fine.
Okay. So there's a few different plot threads that are happening in the show. But it's all coming to a head in this one. I'm trying to remember how it started, because I don't think it started with Omni-Man fucking obliterating a bunch of soldiers.
No, it started with, his wife waking up, him standing or hovering at the back door looking out, and she tells him to fucking leave. And he bolts out through the roof of the house.
That's right.
Which would have pissed me off.
To be fair, I don't think it no longer matters with what happens a little bit later in the episode.
True. Still would have pissed me off, though.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that scene where he just fucking is destroying the cloaked soldiers. Fucking gruesome. Absolutely gruesome.
Yeah, like the one he threw out, and like, I guess her torso was completely spun around. Her legs are like, if she were laying on her back and her legs are bent, angled, knees upwards towards the sky, but yet she's on her stomach trying to crawl. Oh,
yeah.
Like,
everybody else died quickly. Like the guy who got the gun smashed through his head and whatnot, like he died pretty quick. I'd say the dude who got fucking like basically pushed in half on the counter, maybe he had a bad death. I feel like maybe he died quick, but no, that girl that got thrown into the street with her fucking torso twisted was the worst.
I looked at it and I was like, "Come on, walk it off."
pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Come on.
This is America. Oh, sorry. No, man. I didn't really say that. I just thought it was funny to say.
Yeah, and then him fucking what was the guy's name? The assistant to
Donald.
Donald, thank you. I had that.
When he grabs his spine from outside.
Yeah.
He just wraps his hand around his spine, getting ready to kill him.
It's pretty bad. Though I don't blame Donald for doing what he did, because I would have done the same thing. I'm like, well, I don't want to live anymore, so.
But I know he had the ability to push a button.
Yeah. Fucking, I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
and with the size of that blast when he pushed the button and blew up the house on Nolan, the two people that were in the house with him, and he's like, "Run." They didn't survive that blast.
Absolutely not. No, because
it leveled like a couple of blocks of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, there's a comic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've read it?
No.
Okay.
Not all of it.
I was thinking maybe y'all had, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is he doing this? I mean,
same here. I that's why I refuse to read the comic right now. Like, I'm gonna wait until after the finale to start reading the comic and just like catch up with everything. But I'm enjoying what the show is doing right now with like, why is Nolan doing this? 100% with you on that bit, because I'm just like, that's where my attention is drawn hardcore, because we do get in this episode a lot of what Robot is doing, and I was kind of right. I was off a bit with like,
you were off a lot.
I said he was building a body for himself. I said he was
Yeah,
building a body for himself.
that's the only thing
Yeah.
you got right.
Why do you look like me? We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Fucking like Jason Mantzoukas fucking playing Rex Splode is by far my favorite fucking aspect of the show so far. Like, well, not favorite, but it's one of my favorite things. Like, he is doing such a fucking excellent job at playing that guy. So funny.
Makes me want to watch Big Mouth.
I need to get back into Big Mouth. I haven't still watched the latest season yet. No, I said like he was like, yes, I had the theory that he was building a body for himself because he lost his body, which I wasn't totally fucking wrong on, but I assumed that he lost his body in an accident. Not that he still had his body.
Yeah, he still had his body, but you also said that you think his daughter died and he's trying to bring his daughter back to life via cloning in him.
I also didn't say that I was 100% correct. I said I was kind of right.
The kind of route was he made a clone body for himself. That's the only kind of route you got.
I literally said that he had his body. I said that he couldn't use his body, is what I said.
We'll go back and listen.
I said either he died and they transported his or transplanted his brain, or he still has his body but it's not working, is what I said.
Anyway.
But I was wrong about the reasoning behind him not having his body. So that's...
Yeah. I just like giving you shit.
He looked like a teratoma.
What is a teratoma?
Cyst that has like teeth and shit.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like a Quaid, start the reactor.
That's exactly what I thought when I first saw him. I was like, it's Kuhano!
The fight that he then had like with the twins, like the conversation that they had with the twins going like oh, here we go, was fucking killing me. It was so funny.
Yeah.
If they make a couple more, they can start their own Blue Man group.
Son of a bitch. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, what is that?
Landscaping company decides they're fucking going to weed eat right outside of my fucking window.
It's not like blastingly loud. It just kind of sounds like someone's making a cappuccino in the other room is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, apologies for that.
No.
Don't you dare fucking apologize, Maya. Anywho.
Okay, sorry.
It's all your fault.
I absolutely love that the twins, by the way, were like they're fighting fucking Robot when he has his new body. And then he gets a call to head to the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy Center by
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Did I say Guardians of the Globe? What's the guy's name? That's
Cecil.
Cecil, thank you. Jesus. I was about to say like Walter Goggins. Yeah, Cecil's like fucking stay there because like something's going on with Omni-Man, and they're just like, what the fuck is happening? And then he shows up in his new body and they're why do you look like me?
Why the fuck do you look like Kid Me?
Oh my god. And then Monster Girl's just like, yeah, this is not what I wanted, idiot. So good.
A little weird.
It's super like it's creepy. It's straight up creepy. Like first off, looking like another person is creepy, and then on top of that, doing that so he can be with Monster Girl, creepy. But fuck
yeah,
that.
he should have give her, some insight onto his plan to see if she felt the same way or something,
Yeah, absolutely. But
Because then he could have saved himself a lot of trouble.
But if guys did that, the world would be a much better place.
Oh,
But
it
they
would.
don't. But they don't.
No.
honestly, the way you said that, Maya, I was thinking like if guys did what Robot did, but you were talking
No,
about
if
what
they-
Betty said about talking
If
to her
they
first.
actually, yeah.
Communicated.
Yeah, that's not where my thought was. Like, I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And then the logic part of my brain went, no, idiot. So that's all. It was just fucking dumb thought.
And one thing I really loved seeing in this episode is, the aftermath of the return college trip, the return of the weekend from Mark and William and Amber.
Oh yeah.
When she's trying to talk him off, he's trying to talk to her, and she's just blowing him off completely and won't acknowledge him. And then he's like waiting in the room. He's like, "I'm invincible." She's like, "I know.
Duh.
You've been lying to me." And every other time in comics you've seen this. Well, here's why I've been so flaky. I'm so and so, and it's to keep you safe. And they're like, "Oh, I forgive you," and everything's roses. And this was just like, "So what? Fuck you. You're an asshole."
Yep.
I was like,
Don't
that's
care.
pleasant to see.
Like I still remember when Peter and Mary Jane were having that argument about Peter never having time for her, and he reveals that he's Spider-Man, and she was just like, "Oh, well, that makes sense. I forgive you."
Well, he didn't really reveal it so much as it was revealed in front of her.
Tomato.
Oh, wait, which one are we talking about? Comics or movies?
Comics.
Oh, okay.
I remember him telling her, but also they've retconned so much shit in Marvel Comics over the years, so it could be any era. But anyway, point I'm getting at is that, yes, you're absolutely correct, Maya. Every time a superhero is revealed their secret identity to a loved one, it always turns into, I'm still kind of mad at you, but I forgive you, but, or something to that fucking effect. But
Yeah.
here it's just like, fucking leave, flyboy. It's pretty
Use
great.
the door, use the window. I don't give a fuck. Just leave.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
So it was pretty fucking good.
That's what I love about Kirkman's writing. He doesn't stick to traditional storyline comic tropes.
Not at all.
He puts his own bent on them, and it's great. He's very underrated in that regard.
Yeah. I don't know. Is he still writing?
Underrated.
Is he still writing Invincible?
No, Invincible's done.
I thought they had new comics.
I'm pretty sure it ended about 2 years ago.
I know that
Maybe 3.
he finished the main plot of Invincible, but I thought there was a new series that came out.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
But it's not called Invincible. It's called something else, but it has all the characters from the comic. And I felt like that was not written by him. But whatever. Anyway, so yeah, all the stuff with Nolan that's happening in here. Oh, I shouldn't look that up. I just saw something that I probably shouldn't have seen. I'm not going to fucking say it because it's a spoiler. Whoops.
Sucks to be you.
Sure does. Oh, well, like I said, after Friday's episode, I'm going to start reading the comic because I need to know what the fuck is going on into further context. And I've heard from a lot of people who've read the comic that this show is very, very, very similar to the comic.
That's cool.
Just differently told. So, for example, in the first 4 issues of the comic, which I have read, when Omni-Man goes to the aliens' planet where they age quickly, it's not because he went through the teleporter himself. It's because after chasing them away with Mark, he gets grabbed. Like the kind of guard is down, and Nolan gets grabbed through the portal in a random ass location. So like it's stuff like that that's slightly different, but it's still like the aliens look the same and still age very quickly on Earth. So, but yeah, so Cecil is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Nolan. I actually think he's even going to throw the kitchen sink at him at this point.
Oh yeah.
Like whatever the fuck works. I think it was absolutely fucking hilarious, by the way, that we got the guy from the last episode, or not last episode, yeah, episode 5, episode 6. Jesus, goddamn Christ. That guy that was building the fucking monsters from the robotic monsters from the kids.
Yes, Sebastian, yeah,
they got him to show up, and he couldn't talk because his mouth was sewn shut, or his jaw was swollen, or some shit. Oh, that's because he broke his jaw. That's right, because Mark broke his jaw.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Fucking, that cracked me up. I was like, that's so fucking funny. But those things are strong as shit. You were keeping Omni-Man down.
Well, and there were 3 of them. You know, Mark just went one-on-one with one, and he struggled with it.
Did he? I thought he fought 3 of them in the sewer.
Not at once. I don't think
they had him pinned down in the corner. I thought.
I don't know. I have to go back and rewatch it. It was episode 6, like you said. You don't remember much.
Yeah, it wasn't super memorable. Yeah, that's. But yeah, like, and then Cecil shows up and starts teleporting around Omni-Man while he's fucking throwing everything at wherever Cecil is standing, and then throws that fucking monster at him. That I don't even remember what episode they showed that monster. I just remember.
I think it was the first one, maybe the second one.
Yeah, it was really fucking early because it was the guy that pressed the button and nuked half a city block to try to kill Omni-Man or stop him, whatever. But then Cecil was like, "Oh yeah, we juiced him up with all this shit to make him fucking angrier." I was like, Jesus, fucking so good. But I'm super fucking excited for this last episode because, like Betty has been saying, like a lot of people have been saying, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is Omni-Man doing this? Like, I don't know. Any thoughts you guys have?
No, because, the thing is, I mean, he's like a fucking serial killer. You wouldn't expect this out of him. He's like one of those people that's like, oh, yeah, he's so nice. I love him, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck are you doing? I mean, it's mind-blowing. And it's not your typical, superhero story. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. I want answers.
Yeah. Completely.
I really like the fact that the Muller twins used their technology to revive Immortal.
Yeah.
And Immortal, when he wakes up and remembers he's like Omni-Man and goes after him, he's like, you piece of shit, how could you do this to us? We were your friends. And then Omni-Man just completely wrecks him again.
Yeah. I also found it really funny, by the way, that Robot had given them schematics to control, somebody, and it didn't work because Robot double-crossed them again. Oh, fun. Like, fucking, one of the Muller twins says, Robot gave us bad schematics, and I was like, you think?
Right.
Fucking love those characters.
Yeah, I do too. They're really well done. I'm really enjoying this show.
Yeah. Yeah, but we finished the episode on them killing the giant monster and killing Immortal again. Which did Immortal's backstory, by the way, Maya, kind of invoke Vandal Savage vibes?
Yes, very much so. Even his look. His look does. And I think that's intentional.
For anyone that doesn't know, and if Betty, you give a shit, Vandal Savage is a villain from the DC comics who was a caveman or Neanderthal, and he touched a meteorite that had powers or had, I don't remember exactly the context of what the meteor was, but when he touched it, it gave him immortal, like he became immortal. He would gain hyper intelligence over time, essentially, and super strength. I don't know if there's any other power he has, though.
I don't think, but that's enough.
Yeah, that is enough. He's a pretty formidable fucking villain too. I remember there's a whole storyline where he ends up utilizing some other villain's power to get into Batman's cave, to where he gets the contingency plan to destroy or kill every single member of the Justice League, because that's what Batman has on his computer, is contingency plans in case they go rogue or go evil or whatever.
That was the Tower of Babel story arc by Grant. That was, Tower of Babel story arc from Grant Morrison in the Justice League comics back in the early 2000s. I want to say 2001, 2002.
It was very good.
Yeah, it
A
was.
very good storyline. But yeah, Vandal Savage is the one who basically initiated that. So
I thought that was Ra's al Ghul that actually initiated that, but
I might be thinking of the animation they did for it, like the movie that they made for it.
Yeah.
But regardless, Vandal Savage is a very formidable bad guy, and so like the fact that I know that Robert Kirkman was like, so this character, I love that shit. It's so good. The little references to other superheroes throughout this entire thing it reminds me very much of reading The Boys.
Yeah,
there's like, oh, that character's this character, yay. Yeah, the episode just fucking ends with like Mark seeing his dad rip fucking Immortal in half, and then go like, Dad, what the fuck was that? And
he's like, we need to talk. And then
like,
boom, credits.
I
was like, no.
Yeah, I was like, is that it? Is that it?
Oh, it's so torturous. It's like, what a week, fuckers. I'm like, no.
That's why I waited to watch it until last night, because I knew it was probably going to end on a cliffhanger, because most of them have. I waited to watch it until last night. That way I only have to wait 2 more days to see it instead of a whole week.
Yeah, we waited till last night to watch it too.
Which, by the way, the accidental spoiler that I saw might lead into my theory about one of the things of the show, so fuck me. Anyway. Well, let's give our final thoughts on it, unless you guys can think of anything else to bring up about it.
No,
we're good. All right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw the ball into Maya's court on final thoughts and review.
I thought episode 6, I'd give it a B+. It wasn't super memorable, but it was still good. It's still, fun. Episode 7, I got to give it an A+. It was fucking stellar. Omni-Man's cutting loose, and Cecil's doing everything he can to try to stop him. And you see Mark dealing with his teenage bullshit. Am I going to be a hero? Do I want to be a hero? I thought I did, and now I'm not so sure. But, Eve being like, how could you live with yourself if you just sat idly by and somebody got hurt knowing that you could save them?
Yeah.
And, he got his head out of his ass and was like, she's right. I like seeing the fact that Amber was just like not okay with his big superhero secret identity reveal. She's like, I already figured this out weeks ago. You're an asshole. Yeah, I like seeing that as totally different from what you would normally see in the comics.
Yeah.
The show's a lot of fun. And after this next episode, I'm going to do what you did, Greg, or what you're talking about. I'm going to go and read the comic series, because I know
I have a link to the website you gave me for the other thing, so I can send it to you.
Oh, I have it bookmarked.
Gotcha.
Well, you can send it to me.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. There's all kinds of wonderful stuff on there. So
I still need to read that fucking Ninja Turtle comic. I still haven't done that.
Oh my God, Ninja Turtles is great. All right. But yeah, I give it an A+. Episode 7 is great. I'm looking forward to episode 8. And what did you think, Biddy?
I have to say, the show, I was honestly not that thrilled about watching it because, cartoons. I wasn't sure where this was going to go, but I enjoyed it. I mean, every episode was like, whoa. And, I do like that it has taken a completely different look on superheroes, and especially alien superheroes. So, what they've done so far, I think is really good, and I'm looking forward to episode 8. But I would say 6 is a B. Again, it was, filling in that little bits of plot here and there, but 7 was definitely an A plus, just like the others. What about you, Greg?
I mirror the same like as you guys. Episode 6 was a B, and episode 7 was an A plus, and I'm hoping for an A plus next week. One of my favorite things, as being a big fan of superheroes my entire life, is I love new ideas. So taking existing comic books that exist, taking things that we already know, and doing something unique with them is something I'm always going to enjoy, which is why I think The Boys is and Invincible is so fucking clever. Why something like Watchmen just speaks to me. I fucking love it. Like, yes, do I love my superheroes? Absolutely. But I also love the idea that if this shit was in a realistic setting or a more realistic setting, it wouldn't be so fucking cut and dry. It wouldn't be so clean. So I really fucking love that kind of stuff. And I'm excited. I'm so fucking stoked that we get to experience something like this. And I can't wait for more. I can't wait for more ideas to come out. Like there's a new show coming to Netflix that's based on Mark Millar's comic called Jupiter's Legacy. I'm going to check it out because I don't honestly, I've never read the comic. I have no idea what the fuck it's about, but I know it involves superheroes, but like post the superhero golden age. So then there's also a bunch of comics that exist that do unique things with superheroes that I need to see. One of my favorite movies is Mystery Men.
Oh God,
I love
Mystery
that movie.
Men, which is on Netflix again.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually watched it about a week ago because I hadn't seen it in a few years. And I was like, oh, I love this movie.
But yeah, I absolutely fucking love this shit. So, like, if we can keep doing this, I'll keep fucking enjoying it as long as it's written well. I imagine that there's some dissection of superheroes that are really bad, and there's also some stories of superheroes that I just can't like. I still haven't watched Zack Snyder's fucking Justice League, and I don't know that I ever will.
I have no desire.
Save the 4 hours.
I wouldn't watch it in 1 4-hour setting either. I'd watch it in parts. But
so bad.
But yeah, so I'm fucking super goddamn excited for next week, or for this Friday, I should say. I'm 2 days away for us. It's already aired if you're listening to this. So very, very excited. Very, very fucking excited. But yeah, guys, again, like that's gonna do it for us today. Next week we'll just be, covering the finale of Invincible and then talking about whatever we want. Just shooting the shit like an uninhibited situation. Yeah, that's it for that part. Again, thank you guys for understanding the lack of episode last week. It's been a pretty fucking rough week for my family. So, yeah, that's all I'll say to that. Guys, make sure you check out all the socials listed below. Check out our merch store on Teespring. We're gonna have more stuff on there, more options for like slogans and sayings and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you keep an eye on the socials so that way when that goes up, we'll post it out there and let you guys know. Also, again, like I said, if there's something you want us to discuss or conversation or whatever for an uninhibited, or just, when we're not talking about a show, let us know. That way we can talk about it and kind of maybe throw you a little shout out on the episode.
Speaking of shout outs, I found out that an old friend of mine from high school moved in next to me in the next building over, and she's been listening to the show for over a year, and I didn't even know it. And she just told me the other day, she's like, yeah, I've been listening to your show for over a year. I was like, well, why didn't you say anything before? She was like, I don't know. But I was like, first of all, thank you for listening. And, thought it was really cool that it's allowed me to reconnect with an old friend, which is awesome. Yeah, yeah. And she just lives like right next door, so that's cool. And her
That's
mother-in-law
fantastic.
lives next to me as well in the same building apparently. So that's cool. Small towns, you never know. It's crazy.
Dang.
But yeah, I just wanted to
Um,
shout out my friend Natasha.
yeah, no, that's fantastic. I'm glad that
Hi,
there's gonna be.
Natasha.
Hi, thanks for listening.
Yes, thank
Uh,
you.
for everybody else, also just to throw this out there, go follow the YouTube. Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, subscribe,
Something.
follow, hit the notification bell, throw a thumb. It takes you a second to do. It really helps us out a lot, though, in the algorithm.
You really do, and it's free. It's free to you. So there's that.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're going to listen to us, you might as well watch us.
Well,
At
I don't know
least
about that.
2/3 of us.
I don't think there's anything here that's really great to look at. So,
Hey, speak for yourself. Yeah.
no, I said that's why I pointed at my face specifically.
I wasn't
But,
on camera today, but I will be on the next one.
I've
had a
heard that
rough night.
before.
Yeah, well, on the next one, I was on camera.
oh boy.
Yeah, you are.
All right. Well, Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram through Facebook because it's a public page, public profile, I mean. And those are linked. If you want to catch me on other shows, I'm on 2 other podcasts on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel every other Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern on Figure Banging, and every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Nerd Life Syndicate. And that's everywhere where you can find me. What about you, Betty?
You can find me on Facebook under Betty Badger Ogletree. It is also a public profile. And you can find me on Twitter under @BrightBetty. And I'm on there occasionally. I make inflammatory statements. So come join me. What about you, Greg?
You can find me on all socials under Chub Rock Geek. You can also find me doing stuff with Mission Start Podcast. Anthony and I have been trying to put up some stuff on the new YouTube channel. And we'll do an occasional quarterly podcast, which has been fun with him. But other than that, that's it. That's it. That's all. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate you being here. Again, like I said, next week, finale of Invincible, and then just a discussion. So, and in case you forgot, Black Lives Matter, stop Asian hate, protect trans youth, and we'll see you next week.
Peace, love, and polypops, everybody.
Take care, everybody.